Behold, the long-awaited tutorial of the 360 dive roll. A lot of you guys are asking about this, so here I am making this tutorial for you guys on the 360 dive roll. Very fun movement, as usual. I mean, most of the movements are fun because it's fun. You're twisting, you're diving. If you don't have the dive roll, make sure you have a good understanding of that, because if you don't have a good understanding of the dive roll, you could risk injury, such as dislocating your shoulder, cracking your head open, breaking your neck, something crazy. So make sure you really have a good understanding of the dive roll. And a good way of learning the dive roll is to check out my progression video on starting with the basic shoulder roll and going further into a dive roll. So look in the description for that, or just click the link annotation that you're seeing right now. And with that, let's move on. When you're doing any kind of dive roll, it's very important to make sure you know how to use their hands. A lot of people may not understand why somebody dives with their hands reaching out, and the reason is because a lot of the times a good controlled roll has the placement of their hands upon the landing, and you actually kind of push against the ground, not full on with your arms straight. You want to have them slightly bent. That way you can kind of cushion your fall by pushing against the ground and guiding yourself into the roll. So before you guys do this, make sure you do a couple dive rolls where you actually practice the whole concept of putting your hands and guiding yourself into that roll. That way you're going to get used to cushioning that roll. If your roll is uncomfortable, get your roll down, because if you don't have a comfortable roll, if it's not like solid and smooth, you may not want to go for this just yet. With all that out of the way, let's get to it. I'll show you the 360 dive roll, and then we'll begin breaking it down. So, there's the 360 dive roll. A lot of fun. You can do it from a stand. I prefer to do it from a run, because with a run, you get wind in your face, and you got, the flying, and you get the distance and the air. It's a lot of fun that way. So I like to get a good run. I'm not going to tell you how to take off. That's up to you guys. I will tell you that I take off with my right foot in front. That way, and it's kind of cheating, but I mean, as long as you go straight, but I kind of turn a bit as I'm taking off this way. Make sure you kind of keep your body straight. The second you bend your legs, and I've seen a lot of people do this when trying this movement, is when they actually go into it, they have the tendency of tucking and bending their legs and bringing them in, and that turns it into kind of a funky looking flip. So make sure you have a good understanding of how to keep your legs straight and focus mainly on the structure of your hips and your shoulders. Your legs should stay straight, but your hips and shoulders, keep them aligned, because that's where this bit is going to come in handy. So when you're going into it, run, jump, whatever, if you want to punch, don't punch hard. Make sure you have a good idea of that lift and push. When you take off not like so much straight forward where you kind of dive, stall, and then twist. You want to kind of turn your shoulders and your hips as your feet are leaving the ground. And this is the weird part, right? This is where people kind of turn it into a flip. They're going upside down, they're going wherever they can't see the ground. They only see the sky, so they get scared, they tuck, and they turn it into a flip. Don't do that. Yeah, that's not good. So come forward, let your legs kind of dangle while you keep your shoulders and hips aligned, turn, and eventually you stay straight. You'll see that ground. Don't land flat like a belly flop. Obviously, you want to kind of go over into an arch. That's a really good dive roll, is to go over into an arch. When you see that ground, make sure your feet are up in the air. Make sure your hands are, going down. Make sure you're going kind of face first, like a swan dive. And after that, you just kind of control the actual rolling bit. Then, other than that, everything's going to be pretty easy from there. That's pretty much a basic gist of how to do the 360 dive roll. Anything other than that is going to be just drilling it over and over and over and making more and more attempts to get more comfortable with it. So with that, go play it on your own and do the 360 dive roll. I can only tell you how to do it because it's such an advanced movement that there's not really any ways that I could, break it down so you guys can do it on your own. I mean, you could do this where you go on the ground and then go, ugh. But I mean, that only helps so much because you're hitting the ground and that doesn't feel the same as when you're flying through the air. So if you have a pool, if you have a foam pit, if you have an area that you trust to land softly, take your mattress and put it outside. Buy a gym mat for a couple $1,000 and put it outside and roll on that thing. Your bed, go in your room. I mean, be creative, but make sure you can practice safely. That way you can do it professionally, or maybe not concrete, but somewhere where you guys can trust yourself. And another tip would be, when you're doing this for starters, I recommend putting like an obstacle in front. Like when I started it, I had this guy in my way. So when I did it, I'd be forced to go up and over. I don't know about you guys, but that helped me a lot. So maybe that'll help some of you guys whenever you guys are breaking this on your own. So with that, here comes few slow-mos, and yeah, that's a tutorial for the 360 dive roll. I hope you guys enjoyed, and with that, take great care, stay positive, and I'm Epic.